Great to be in Manchester and back in the UK. Welcome to the Land of Hope and Dreams tour. The mighty E Street Band is here tonight to call upon the righteous power of art, of music, of rock and roll in dangerous times. In my home, the America I love, the America I've written about, that has been a beacon of hope and liberty for 250 years, is currently in the hands of a corrupt, incompetent, and treasonous administration. Tonight, we ask all who believe in democracy and the best of our American experience to rise with us, raise your voices against authoritarianism, and let freedom ring. How we doing, Manchester? All right. The last check on power, after the checks and balances of government have failed, are the people. You and me. It's in the union of people around a common set of values. Now, that's all that stands between democracy and authoritarianism. So at the end of the day, all we've really got is each other. Now, easy going. There's some very weird, strange, and dangerous shit going on out there right now. In America, they are persecuting people for using their right to free speech and voicing their dissent. This is happening now. In America, the richest men are taking satisfaction in abandoning the world's poorest children to sickness and death. This is happening now. In my country, they're taking sadistic pleasure in the pain that they inflict on loyal American workers. They're rolling back historic civil rights legislation that led to a more just and plural society. They're abandoning our great allies and siding with dictators against those struggling for their freedom. They're defunding American universities that won't bow down to their ideological demands. They're removing residents off American streets and without due process of law are deporting them to foreign detention centers and prisons. This is all happening now. A majority of our elected representatives have failed to protect the American people from the abuses of an unfit president and a rogue government. They have no concern or idea of what it means to be deeply American. The America that I've sung to you about for 50 years is real. And regardless of its faults, is a great country with a great people. So we'll survive this moment. Now, I have hope because I believe in the truth of what the great American writer James Baldwin said. He said, in this world, there isn't as much humanity as one would like, but there's enough. Let's pray.
Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Today, a Democracy Now! Global exclusive. We're joined by Mohsen Madawi in his first live interview since being released after spending more than 2 weeks in a Vermont prison. Madawi is a Columbia University student, Palestinian activist who holds a green card. He's a legal permanent resident. He was arrested in Vermont in mid-April when he appeared for what he'd been told was his naturalization interview. After completing the interview, he ended up being taken away by armed and masked federal agents. Mohsen moved to Vermont from the occupied West Bank in 2014, where he was third generation in his family, to live in El Farah, a Palestinian refugee camp. He later attended Lehigh University in Pennsylvania before transferring to Columbia in 2021 to study international affairs. At Columbia, he was co-president of Columbia's Palestinian Students Union and served as president of Columbia University's Buddhist Association for 2 years. Mohsen Madawi is one of several students who've been detained by the Trump administration. Former Columbia student protest leader Mahmoud Khalil has been detained since March 8th. Tufts PhD Fulbright scholar Rumeysa Ozturk was released a week ago after 6 weeks in detention. And Georgetown University scholar Badr Khansouri was freed on Wednesday after nearly 2 months in detention. Mohsen Madawi spent 2 weeks in a Vermont prison before a federal judge in Vermont ordered him released on bail. The judge, Jeffrey Crawford, compared the recent detentions of immigrant student protesters to the Red Scare and the Palmer raids of 1919-20. This is Mohsen Madawi speaking to supporters just after his release, April 30th.
And I am saying it clear and loud.
Yes.
To President Trump and his cabinet.
Yes.
I am not afraid of you.
Trump administration is still trying to deport him. Well, Mohsen Madawi joins me here now in our New York studio for his first live interview. Welcome to Democracy Now! Congratulations on your freedom, Mohsen.
Thank you, Amy. It's a pleasure to be with you. And good morning to your audience as well.
So if you can start off by telling us what happened, why you ended up going back to Vermont for this final, what you thought, immigration interview. What happened?
I mean, I was waiting for this interview, which is my naturalization process to receive a citizenship for over a year. And the reason I had to go to Vermont because my residence, my permanent residence is in Vermont. Therefore, I went to basically what I thought should be a normal, naturalization interview. I expected at the same time that there might be a trap set up for me, just seeing and witnessing what happened to other students, including Mahmoud Khalil and Rumeysa Ozturk. And therefore, I was prepared for that interview that I might come on the other side with full rights or no rights.
We interviewed Vermont Congressmember Becca Balint at the time because you had written to her, she's the sole Congress member in Vermont, as well as to Senators Peter Welch, who visited you in prison, and Senator Bernie Sanders. You wrote them all because you were so concerned about what would happen?
This is exactly right. I mean, I prepared for on many different levels. Part of why I stayed in Vermont is because of the support that I received from official representatives, such as the senators and the congresswomen, who I'm very grateful for. But at the same time, also, I had to arrange with my lawyers in order to have everything drafted, ready to go, just prepared for the worst case scenario. So I prepared with the lawyers, contacted my representatives, and contacted my community members who are very close to me. And we saw the aftermath of this is I was able to stay in Vermont, something that other students did not have the luxury to do. They were uprooted from their communities and from legal support.
So what happened? You go to the naturalization interview. What day was that?
It was on the 14th of April.
And you went with your lawyer?
I went with one of my lawyers, an immigration lawyer. We go into USCIS office. This is the immigration office where I'm supposed to have my interview. And everything looked kind of normal. There were some signs. The officer who interviewed me inside was waiting for us. And after being in the lobby for a few minutes, the lobby was emptied from any other applicants. So it was only myself, my lawyer, and my friend. And I looked at them and I said, this is the calm before the storm.
And so you had your interview. Did you sign any documents?
Yes, I went through my regular interview for citizenship to the point I thought that I am going to receive the citizenship that same day, because I was asked the questions that I had to answer. I answered the questions correctly. And then I was asked if I am willing to take the Pledge of Allegiance. When the officer asked me if I am willing to do so, I said, of course. And he asked me to sign a document saying that I am willing to actually protect and defend the Constitution of this country. And shortly after that moment, just within a minute, the DHS agents storm the office, separate me from my lawyer, and they say that I am under arrest.
Masked?
I mean,
were they masked?
They were masked. They had hoods on. You could not recognize them, and they had guns on them as well.
And they masked around you? Did they handcuff you?
Yes, directly. Actually, there was not any space or room to show us documents or to explain anything. And they said, you're under arrest. So I gave them my hands and I said, I am a peaceful man. I am not going to resist.
Do you love America or do you hate America? It's really quite that simple.
I think people are feeling pretty soul weary. There's a kind of angst.
Nazi this, Nazi that. I'm so sick of the N-word. We're gonna have to normalize this. From now on, I'm gonna come up to you and say, what up, my Nazi?
Not every Democrat agrees with your approach. James Carville, for example, says Democrats should roll over and play dead, have a strategic political retreat.
And that is why the rich have gotten richer in the last 30 or 40 years. 60% of our people live in paycheck to paycheck. Our healthcare system is falling apart. Our childcare system is dysfunctional. That's what playing dead is about. I'm afraid the Democrats have played dead for a long time.
Layers of hate and bigotry by demagogues of division who were using division for short-term purposes.
We don't have to live like this anymore. We can make a new world, a better country, where we can fight for the dignity of all people.
This country faces some very difficult challenges. And the future of what happens to America is dependent upon your generation.
Democrats have been trying to scare people into believing that Donald Trump and Elon Musk were coming for your Social Security, that they were coming for your Medicare, your Medicaid.
Social Security is the the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
There are those who are trying to weaponize despair. They're flooding the zone, and they're hoping that you won't fight.
We do have power in this moment. All of us do. Everyday people do.
Now you can turn away and you can ignore what goes on, but if you do that, you do it at your own peril. We need you to stand up, to fight.
Lunatics are running around with covers on their face, screaming terrifying things. We're going to kick you out. This is not about free speech.
He attended a protest and they did not like the content of his speech.
This is not the America I think many of us thought we lived in.
For writing an op-ed in her school paper.
This should terrify every single person living in this country, regardless of your citizenship status. They are coming for people because of their beliefs and what they may have said.
That's why I was elected. A judge wasn't elected to do that. I was elected to do that.
We need you to stand up and fight.
It will never just be institutions or politicians and officials alone that uphold our democracy. It will always be the people, the masses who refuse to comply, who are the last and strongest defense of our country and our freedoms.
Presidents have to be given total immunity. It's not what the founders wanted, but perhaps even more importantly.
Carter G. Woodson gave us Black History Week. Now, almost 100 years later, many of us are still stuck in the month of February. But our legacy, it doesn't just fit into 28 days. The Black Heritage Day app is here to change all of that. It brings Black history to your fingertips every single day of the year. Based on years of research by Dr. Carl Mack, our historian, our griot, just 3 minutes a day. That's all it takes to read, learn, and listen to an oral narrative of your history.
Indeed, the Southern states went to war over the rights for each of the 11 Confederate states to own our ancestors.
To connect with your roots, to teach your children the truth they won't get in school.
In total, he is credited with 28 other inventions. But as a Black inventor, he struggled to gain.
Learn why New Year's Day was once considered the most dreaded day of the year.
Parents were separated from their children, siblings separated, and spouses separated from one another. And today, America has the nerve to lecture us about the status of the Black family.
Understand the political journey of Black America from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party.
It marked the beginning of Blacks' departure from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party. And here's why we switched.
Dive into culture and triumph like Sidney Poitier's blockbuster film success. And so much more. From heartbreak to triumph. From January 1st to December 31st. This app is more than a download. It's a movement. It's a community of Black families raising their kids on truth and on legacy. Download the Black Heritage Day app for free in the Google Play Store or on the Apple App Store. This isn't just an app. It is a daily celebration of who we are.
The work that we're doing here is not going to stop when it comes to these type of discussions. It's going to be for us and by us here on this platform when the media is telling us to look the other way. Your support is what helps us move forward. Join patreon.com/like it or not. Help us grow.
Like It or Not starts now.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Did we miss, am I not here?
No, your video isn't here. There you go. There you
Good
go.
morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, and welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell the truth
and not care who doesn't like it.
Good morning, Mr. Benjamin P. Dixon over there, looking like what do they call it? The salt and pepper. That's what you're giving today.
It's
gotten
getting
more.
saltier. It's getting
It's coming
saltier.
in.
It's
Wow.
it's you getting old, man. Kind of levels of gray here, but
Well,
you
it's
know,
not giving old man. Skin is still giving the original skin. It's just salt and pepper beard.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you know, hey.
That's what they
I
say.
see you rocking the FAMU shirt.
Oh, absolute.
We watched the video this morning as I was
Absolutely.
washing dishes, and yeah, man, we gotta talk about that for sure.
And as we should. Yes, we should. Whoever is watching right now, make sure you head over to the page. Interestingly enough, that video isn't doing too well, but it's a quick draw. It's literally talking about what's happening at FAMU right now and how it's politically tied to what is going on in this current administration, particularly in Florida, and what they've already been gunning for, which is our Black knowledge, our history, our universities, and you guys already know one of the most notable, and you know, Ben, this ain't even a time for you to mention your school, but one of the most notable HBCUs, which is historical Black colleges.
Hey, was that a warning? Was that
absolutely? Through this segment, I'm gonna just need you to just sit right there. I got you. I promise. You're gonna have an.
I got nothing but love for FAMU.
Absolutely. You're married to one.
To
Your wife
to a
Jada
rattler.
is she's a rattler, and you know, so
we holding it down with y'all. We got y'all.
Absolutely, and I believe it. And in this moment right now, as you know, FAMU is the #1 public HBCU in the nation. It is one of the most notable universities when it comes to HBCUs, one of, because there's so many of them, but people know FAMU. And just like in this administration, what's happening right now, Donald Trump, in order to make sure that he's sending out warning signs to other groups of people, he's going to find the most prominent, the most popular in that minority group of people to make an example out of. When it comes to immigrants, and he wanted to make sure he attacked Black immigrants, he went for the most hated group amongst the immigrants, and that was Haitians. When it comes to bodily autonomy, he made sure that he affected women, but who got affected the most? Black women. We're watching them lose their lives. Just recently, a woman, right, lost her life because because of the laws here in Georgia. She had to keep a fetus inside of her. A woman who was already brain dead, by the way. They kept the fetus inside of her. So, and now we're looking at when it comes to education, which has always been, there has always been an attack on education, but we're seeing it, it was a threat in Donald Trump's first term, and now we're seeing things play out, and it has hit our universities, our beloved universities, and they started with the most prominent one to make an example. They always want to go and make sure, oh, you thought that we wouldn't get this, but we did. This week, you know what, Ben? You got a few moments just to, I don't even want to break it down. I think my video can break it down even better. You got a few moments to just watch the video. It ain't too long. 4 minutes. Go ahead and run that so that people can get a gist about what's going
Save
on
your
right
breath.
now.
You've already did the work. You already did the work. Listen in, everybody.
Let's take a listen. You know, it's a sad day when Rebecca Azor gets online to speak about Florida A&M University, the most prestigious university, HBCU, in the nation. When I get on here to talk about my alma mater in any other way than to give it any praises, today, I can come on here and say that FAMU got it wrong. Today, in the middle of graduation week, the Florida A&M University Board of Trustees voted by a slim 7-5 margin to make Marva Johnson the next president of FAMU. Let me say that again so it's clear. They chose a Republican, a Ronald DeSantis appointee, a corporate lobbyist with zero higher education leadership experience to run one of the most prestigious, historically Black colleges in this university. No HBCU background, no experience leading a university, no deep ties to our culture, our community, or our fight, and they put her in charge. And as a proud graduate of Florida A&M University, an institution that molded my voice, sharpened my politics, and deepened my pride in being Black, I'm pissed off. I'm disgusted, and I refuse to pretend that this is anything other than a blatant political takeover. They picked Marva Johnson, y'all. And with that pick, they spit in our face. Every student, alum, faculty member, and ancestor who built the university into what it is today. It's compliance. And I think it's It's cowardice.
Said close them doors. Ushers, close the doors. Close the doors.
No, and let's keep it real, because Marva Johnson was installed. She was planted. She wasn't selected. The board didn't listen to us. They ignored us. They disrespected. Listen, they made us think that we had a voice by letting us see everything that was going on, by letting us be a part of the conversation. People protested. They ignored us. And that's disrespectful because they knew who they were putting in place. A safe pick for the state, a puppet that answers to the powers that be, somebody that won't push back when Tallahassee comes knocking. Okay, this was strategic, calculated. It was dirty. They dropped her name in at the last minute, and they used the graduation to kind of suppress what was going on, to soften the blow, think that we wouldn't get it. This is a power grab. In a state of Florida, my hometown, where Black history is currently being erased, DEI dismantled, Governor DeSantis has literally declared war on education, and they handed FAMU over to one of DeSantis's own. They know who she is and what she represents. And let me be clear, I don't care what she says in a press conference. I don't care how many times she uses the word equity or access or says FAMU incorrectly. I don't care if she has on an orange and green suit. This is infiltration. Marva Johnson was not chosen to help us or serve us. I'm telling y'all, she was there to neutralize us. She's there to neutralize us. I spent my life defending FAMU, and I still will, with pride. But I'm questioning what the hell is going on over there. The board had a chance to do it right by the students, the alumni, the legacy, and they threw it away. They ignored the protest. They dismissed the voices, and they mocked us in a way. They didn't just ignore the will of the people. They made a mockery of us, y'all. What's happening at FAMU is not isolated. This is not random. This is actually the blueprint of what Donald Trump wants in this nation, handing over our universities to these insiders who lack qualifications. Today it's FAMU. Tomorrow it could be Howard, Spelman, North Carolina A&T. Any one of our HBCUs can be next if we do not stay alert at what just happened. To the trustees who voted for this is betrayal. We ain't never gonna forget. And believe me, we ain't never gonna forget. To the students and the alumni who are watching this disaster unfold, don't let them make you feel like you gotta be silent, because this is not normal. This is not okay. This is a hostile takeover. I ain't gonna be quiet. Yeah, I know I won't. And I'm not gonna be respectful when the state hijacks the soul of my university. This was wrong. This was wrong. Let's be clear. Florida A&M University, sitting on the highest of 7 hills in Tallahassee, will forever be my university. FAMU today, FAMU tomorrow, and FAMU forever. But FAMU is not for Marva Johnson.
Hey, let's be clear. Excellent work, Rebecca.
Thank you so much. I'm getting you that image now, but honestly, it's really tough to really, I ain't gonna lie to you, the way that this broke my heart, I don't even know what really to say, Ben, because they came after FAMU, and there are details of this that I did not fully add. They came after FAMU in the week of leading up to Marva Johnson, who was not even a candidate for president. I want to be clear.
They threw her in at the last second.
Last second, right the day before they threw her in last second, they put in someone else on the board of trustees that day. And then they put her in as a candidate. This was all a strategic move. You know how it is. While we got a lot of mess going on our HBCUs for decades, from the history of our HBCUs, we understand, we know. However, I know that it is very extensive, the title like to get to the title of president at FAMU.
Yes.
This lady rolled in. Nobody has ever seen her, heard about her.
No experience.
Protested. They wore all black. Alumni were traveling to the city. They stood out there. The children didn't go to class. They said no. They got on social media and said no. Here is one of the kickers for me. FAMU has never been, we know, like people don't really involve themselves or are open or are privy to the process of the presidential pick. You kind of just wake up, here's what we have. We kind of hear about it, but we let them do their thing. We have our opinions, but they even made it so that it was a whole shenanigan for days this week. They said, join in on the process. Here's a Zoom link. Take a look at who's speaking next. They posted her 2 days ago. There was not one comment that said yes to her. Not one. They said, FAMU knows better, but thank you for letting us be a part of the process and hearing our voices. We said no. They deleted the post. They deleted the post because it had so many things to say about her that were, we weren't saying anything negative. We don't know you, but we know you. We know where you're from. You're a Ron DeSantis appointee, the anti-DEI, the anti-Black, the anti-HBCU, the anti-Black history governor of Florida. The guy that thinks everything is woke, because woke equates to Blackness. And you brought an appointee from Ronald DeSantis you opened the doors of FAMU to the ops.
To the ops.
To quiet us down, to hold government guns against our Black heads. And to show the other HBCUs that if they challenge their representatives, their governors, their whoever's, just know. Will Packer put out a video. I don't know if you could find that. In the meantime, or you could play this video as well. Oh, my camera's gone. I didn't even see that. Because I was just going in. I apologize, y'all. But just go ahead and play the video. Will Packer did speak, if you could find that as well. I just really want you guys to get a gist of how much pushback, even from our major alums with money who offered up to give whatever they could. Please don't do this, fam. And for those who are saying this is not political, for those who are saying this is not political, how dare you when this is actually a part of the blueprint? Go ahead and roll that beautiful bean footage. I'll get you the image.
High-profile stakeholders like Will Packer led a barrage of questions about how Johnson's political affiliations would not get in the way of advancing FAMU. Alum Gabrielle Albert thinks Johnson did not handle the crowd well enough to win her over as an outside candidate.
An outside perspective can always be helpful. However, community is important. One of our highest ever giving funders came out of his day. His name's on an amphitheater. You don't think he might take that off? You don't think people will stop funding? That's going to cripple the university. Is it worth it?
The student reaction earlier in the day Wednesday was similar. Elijah Hook says he suspects Johnson is the front runner for the job, even though the community has pushed back significantly.
FAMU wants a leader that represents us, who is not a political ploy or someone who does not have experience in higher education, but someone who represents the true values of what our mother FAMU was founded on in 1887. That's love and charity. And unfortunately, members of her party and members of people who are aligned with her don't represent the true values of love and charity.
FAMU's last finalist, COO Dr. Donald Palm, will have his final interview and meet and greet Thursday.
Well, they had that.
Oh, baby, they had that. And it didn't matter. That person has been running, in the running, qualified, doing all the things. And no. Did we get that? Did we get that?
You're looking for the Will. Okay, hold on a second.
The Will Packer.
Yeah.
And also, you know, as you get that footage, did you hear clearly? They're talking about Will Packer. His name is on the building. He funded, right? One of the buildings. So have our other people who are big in name. They funded lots of buildings and things of that sort. And to spit on the legacy of FAMU.
Yeah. That
to
part.
spit in the face of us. We went to that school. We go, anything. You would think that they made a mockery out of us online. They invited us into the process, deleted the woman's pictures after so much pushback, reposted it the day she won. A few minutes before her winning. That means our voice never had a chance. That means that there was a threat that was made to the university by the government. There had to be, because FAMU is not up for sale. But to bring somebody in to the school,
yeah,
they are going to neutralize our blackness. Our
That's
protest.
the whole point, Rebecca. I think you hit it on the head. The only way to describe this is infiltration. Infiltration is what you called it, and they are infiltrating this country at every level, all the way down to black colleges. And they've gotten somebody who is highly unqualified, someone with no experience running anything but being a voice for Ron DeSantis. And so what that's going to allow them to do is now they're going to just completely they're going to just invert, transform FAMU into a far right wing machine.
Yep.
And they know that if they can change the ethos, the character of HBCUs, if they could change the character of FAMU, then they can raise up a whole generation of black folks who will be just like a bunch of little MAGA Margas.
Yeah,
MAGA Marva, whatever it is, right? Like they could be
MAGA Marvels. It don't work.
Byron, yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, bitch.
Oh.
She ain't supposed to be there. We don't even want to mention her name, full of evil. You see her, you don't even. She does press conferences. She does all these things, and it's this is unprecedented. This is not what we stand for, and the fact that we stood for it yesterday is an embarrassment. I'm not gonna lie. One thing about it, I won't disrespect the university, because this was the board of trustees, which is supposed to protect us. We got our scandals amongst the board of trustees, amongst admissions, amongst our campus activities department. We have it all, but this right here was a full betrayal. 5 to 7, 2 implants. People want to talk about somebody being a plant. Marva is literally a plant. She knows nothing about this. She knows nothing about black youth. She knows she doesn't belong, and she still pulled up. Her wig and her eyes told me everything I needed to know. Let's hear what Will Packer had to say.
He's a clown. I'm borrowing this off of Roland Martin show, so there's going to be a little bit of Roland in here as well.
And students of Florida A&M University, and a warning for all those who love and support HBCUs. HBCUs are under attack. MAGA is trying to take over leadership at several of our beloved institutions. Right now, FAMU is in the bullseye. Hear me loud and clear. Right this very minute, a group of activist Republicans are trying to put in the highest position of power someone who is solidly and objectively unqualified for it. Her name is Marva Johnson. FAMU deserves better. Marva Johnson has been named a finalist for the FAMU presidency by Florida Republicans who sit on the presidential search committee. Let me tell you a little bit about Marva Johnson. She is a career lobbyist with no experience in higher education administration. Literally, the same amount of higher education admin experience as you or I. Zero. None. Now, this is not just about her being a staunch Republican. Everyone has a right to their own political affiliations. But what we cannot allow is a hostile takeover by someone who is aligned with a party that has loudly and proudly espoused ideologies that attack diversity and diverse institutions, attack equitable economics, and attack inclusive principles.
If you're a woman over 50 and you want to
They be killing me with it. These commercials be killing me.
Get it off the screen.
Get it off the screen.
But anywho, no, Will Packer said it best, and it's exactly what I said, because there's nothing else that we can say. The facts are the facts. If we just stick to the facts, you can see how absolutely insane this is. But it is not outside of what Donald Trump promised he was going to do.
That's right.
And what his followers, especially in these southern states, we got Georgia, the Texas, and Florida. We know there are going to be so many things back to back. We're going to see them because, copycats live all up and down through here. The attacks are going to happen, but they want to make sure they're seen through no matter what needs to be done. These Black schools need Black leaders, but who are MAGA. That's what they believe, because they're getting paid to do all these things. She's a lobbyist, for goodness sake. She's not there for the good of the university. She's not there to uplift the Black students. We're going to see parents pull their children, especially first years, because listen, my kid ain't going here. We're going to see kids start to drop out. We're going to see children protest going to class. They just got back to campus a couple years ago. They just are rebuilding the heart of the university. The fact that they did this during graduation also makes me look at them crazy. You thought that nobody would want to come and check about this. Then y'all thought that nobody would want to click on that Zoom link. And then when we got all involved into the process, you took down the posts only of her. Then you said that you were fairly posting her and she was the only one posted 3 times. 3. The other candidates posted 1. No matter how you pushed it to us, gave it to us, flipped it, reversed it, dropped it down, brought it back up, we didn't want the cranberry sauce. We didn't want it.
Rebecca, you got more. You be coming up. You sound about like my pastor, Pastor Robinson. He just be coming up with these analogies. But I hear you what you're saying. And what's bad about this is that they know the power of putting in a fake Black person who can give the appearance of Blackness, but then actively erase Blackness. And that's what Marva Johnson is going to FAMU to do. She's going there to erase authentic Blackness. And then they're going to start celebrating her fake Blackness along with Byron Donalds, who wants to be governor of the state of Florida, right? They're going to be replacing all of the authenticity that is Blackness with MAGA Blacks. And they're going to turn FAMU. But see, here's my thing. And this is what I was telling my wife, and you all are both on the same page here, like in terms of just not only the seriousness of it, but just the heartbreak of it to see that the leadership of FAM went along with this. And again, it's not your whole university. It's certainly not the alumni. It's the board of trustees who, again, correct me if I'm wrong, had a white Republican added recently as well.
It was a Latino, but still white adjacent. But yes,
they added that person, and then that person became one of the deciding votes amongst others. It wasn't just that person.
This is not even like 3 days. Like was something that was stirring up. This is not. They did it the day before they put Marva Johnson in the seat for a presidential candidate at FAMU.
And so they do it the day before, complete and total disrespect. They are always going to have an endless supply of Black folks who are willing to sell out Blackness for a check. That's who Marva Johnson is. That's who Byron Donald is. That's who all of these Black influencers are. That's what the Hodge Twinks are. That's what the Candace Owens is. That's what Officer Tatum is. These Black people who have Black skin, but at the core of them, at the heart of them is whiteness and white supremacy.
Yeah.
And she is going to go in there to rewrite the history. My wife's heart is broken about this. Well, I'm going to be talking to some of my high school friends who ended up going to FAMU about this later on. But here's the thing, Rebecca. I think that you all need to actively organize to not to just resist, but to outlive her tenure.
Yes.
So that you all can make a baseline right here, make a mark right here of what FAMU was before she came. And then you all, as a matter of ritual, y'all connect with those students on that campus. And as a matter of ritual, just remind yourselves of what FAMU was before this MAGA takeover, so that when she inevitably fails because she doesn't know what she's doing, she's incompetent, she's not going to last long because she's going to end up destroying things. You all just make sure that the true soul of FAMU outlives her tenure, so that when she's gone, you all can restore FAMU back to what it was. Because I refuse to sit back and watch them take an HBCU and convert it into a Black MAGA.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're trying to figure out that right now. All over my timeline, we're trying to figure out how to mobilize. We're trying to figure out what to do next. I'm not sure, but we are in the chats. We're in our graduating class chats. We are dropping messages. We're not sure. That's the thing, Ben. The way they did this was in such a way where
I'm going to come back to this comment, by the way, but go ahead.
Well, the way they did this, yes, please leave that comment up so we can get back to it. But the way they did this was in a way where it was so abrupt, so quick. All of the Rattlers are all over the world, especially the alums. The alums that could make it there were appalled at how they just dismissed their voices. And it was as if nothing you can do about it. And so we're sitting here and we're trying to figure out, yes, we will take our money from the school and things, but it will hurt the school. But we're like, if we have to do that to save the school, then so be it. So we're trying to figure out those things and collectively mobilize to protect us, to save us, and to protect the other universities. If we got to take that bullet to the chest, we'll do it for the other universities as well.
You know, there's another university in Florida that Ron DeSantis took over and converted it from being like a traditional liberal arts school, and then turned it into a MAGA machine and ultimately destroyed it. And so he's already done this to one university. And this is why I want to put this little comment back up from this hot sauce. And I normally would just completely and entirely ignore people like this, but hot sauce 456 is in the chat room saying, man, this is so exhausting. Y'all find just new ways to be victims every day. Shit is pathetic, man. The chances are they're either white or black MAGA.
Yeah.
And if they're not, I still don't care. Their opinion has no bearing on the significance of this story, because we've seen the agenda is to destroy education around this country at every level. And the only education that will remain will be education that is structured to promote MAGA's fascism. And as we all know, you got plenty of black folks going out here taking checks from MAGA. So there's going to be a nice, diverse, equitable, and inclusive fascism. They just don't want it to be DEI for freedom and liberation and democracy. No, if you want to be a black person in MAGA, they'll send you all kind of money. They'll give you an entire university, Rebecca.
Yep.
If you want to be a Negro from MAGA, they will give you an entire university, and you don't have no experience. Go back to this other quote. This Larva Johnson is much easier than saying Marva. Larva Johnson.
Because, lady, when were you like Marva? Like, what is that? We should have known. We should have known. And she came with contacts, hair drier than the Sahara Desert. You don't belong. At FAMU, the wind blows in such a way that allows everyone's beautiful curls and naps and blowouts and braids and, you know, just to flow in the wind. And she came there and it was as if humidity was just riding with her, was just going with her darkness, a cloud of and this want to get her eyes blue when she knows she a black woman without blue eyes. She hates herself. She aligns herself with whiteness, but she will never be white. So while she props herself up amongst these black people, she is going at it. Ain't like she's doing this amongst a white group of people. This is a black group of people. And the ones that did vote for her, we know your names. The ones that fought for us, we know your names. This is not about y'all. We know y'all stood 10 toes down for us, but the two that did what they needed to do, the ones that came out of nowhere. Don't even worry about it.
It was New College of Florida. New College was the other university. Let me play this real quick because I want you all to hear and make sure you can hear it. But this is
the university you're referring to is New College of Florida, a small public liberal arts honors college located in Sarasota. Established in 1960, it has long been recognized for its progressive academic environment and emphasis on student-driven learning. In early 2023, Governor Ron DeSantis initiated a significant transformation of the institution by appointing 6 conservative trustees to its board, including prominent figures like Christopher Rufo. This move was part of a broader effort to reshape the college into a classical liberal arts institution, drawing comparisons to Hillsdale College, a conservative Christian college in Michigan. The overhaul led to several notable changes. Leadership changes. The existing college president was dismissed, and Richard Corcoran, a former Florida House Speaker and Education Commissioner, aligned with DeSantis, was appointed as interim president. Curriculum and faculty adjustments. The college eliminated its Diversity, Equity and Inclusion DEI office, banned the use of personal pronouns in email signatures, and removed gender studies programs. These actions prompted significant faculty turnover, with nearly 40% resigning. Academic direction. The institution sought $400 million in state funding to support its transformation into a world-class classical liberal arts education institution, aiming to increase enrollment and expand its programs. These developments have sparked national debate, with supporters praising the return to traditional educational values and critics expressing concern over academic freedom and the politicization of higher education.
So he's already done it. And listen to how many people left. How many teachers, 40% of the teachers left because they came in and, you know, and here's the funny thing. You didn't hear them say anything about removing like Black history because they didn't have any Black history at New College of Florida anyway. So now you look what they came and said, let's go get the Negroes next. And they went to FAMU and they're going to do the exact same play. They've already replaced the president and then they're going to start changing the curriculum. They're going to get rid of anything that has, I mean, just think of everything that they would have to destroy to get rid of the diversity and the inclusion and the equity that is at the bedrock of Blackness. They're going to fundamentally transform this university, or they're going to try. And I think, Rebecca, you all and all of the alumni around the country need to do everything to stop them.
Yeah, no, we absolutely do. And I think that we have to make sure that we make it, we are the example. They've already made us an example, but how are we going to handle it? And how do we save? I think that's the more major question. While there is a lot of pain, there is a lot of hurt. What are we going to do to, I really want to know what we can do to mobilize and figure this out, because I don't want this to be the history. I want my kids to be legacy babies. I want my kids to be able to have the option to go to FAMU and experience, you know, a world of Blackness where there's everyone there, where there's all types of people who are Black, and you get the education and they cover you, and you get I want my children to be able to be open and have those experiences, my nephews and my nieces to also be able to have that as an option. But knowing that what FAMU, I would never say this out of my mouth, but me saying this is absolutely insane. Under the leadership of Marva Johnson, I don't want none of my nieces or nephews, or for any of my future children, if they stick with this type, because Donald Trump and his minions have said once they put somebody in place somewhere, they will shift and change the culture to the point where we will never have a chance to bring it back. That's a promise that this man has made. When it came to the attack on Black education, taking away funding has always been something that he promised as a threat. When we didn't want to remove Black history conversations, how dare we? What is the point of going to an HBCU if you are not learning about your Black history? I learned so much as, you know, some groups of people don't want to believe, but I learned so much about my own heritage as a Haitian.
Yeah.
At FAMU.
Yeah.
Because they taught actual Black history, global Black history at that school. So to see that they want to bring somebody who is going to handpick, take away, remove, strategize with MAGA.
Yes.
To
take orders.
All we know of our precious, beloved university. We usually keep things around the dinner table when it comes to conversations about our HBCUs. We usually keep things within our little circles, you know, gather together, because it's usually things that we can handle, things that we know that, you know, our donors will be able to step in and take care of. But at this moment, even our donors are taking to social media, begging for assistance, begging for help. That's how we know MAGA has used its power and put a puppet, a plant, a political plant. I never thought I would say this about my school. At the university. We gotta do something, man.
Well, And I think it's the same thing, Rebecca. You teach about this all the time. The remembrance.
Yeah.
It is one. Every generation of kids that come in, y'all need to, so a lot of this is going to actually have to obviously take place offline. But for every freshman class that comes in underneath Larva Johnson's reign, they need to have their own initiation and communication from the alumni and from people in the city, people who know, and let them know exactly who their president is, who their president serves, and what the university was before that president and what the university is going to be after that president. And make sure that every single student who you all can reach out to on that campus knows and remembers what FAMU is not only what it used to be, but the fight that it's in, because FAMU is in the fight for its soul.
Absolutely.
Like the very essence of what FAMU has been for since 18, what year was it founded?
1887.
I knew you knew.
Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, October 3rd, 1887. FAMC. The school for colored people, because they could not go to the school across the street called Florida State University, across the train tracks. These people built the school with their hands, went to class, and continued to build on the school land that was full of rattlesnakes. They built up the school from nothing until it became a university, accredited university at Tallahassee, because they did not want us to have education. And here we are. And we opened the doors for infiltration. I'm so pissed off, Benjamin P. Dixon.
Yeah. Let me jump here real quick with Legalia DeVille. And I appreciate the comment. So I'm not going to read this sideways, but I am going to answer it though. Says it's different outside the US, but I have no reason to defend the university I went to. I don't think anyone would unless you went to one of the top 5. See, here's the difference though. Black universities had to come into existence because white folks would not allow us to go to university with them. Same thing as the reason the black church came into existence, because it was illegal. Black folks could not worship with white folks. And so we went and started our own. And in starting our own, we created something more than a university. And I am sorry, you just really would not understand, right? You really simply could not understand unless you have been growing up in a world that, number one, has always looked at you sideways because you black. And then going to a university where not only was it, they didn't look at you sideways because you black, they would look at you sideways if you didn't understand and appreciate your blackness.
Yeah.
And going from that shift, going from a world that didn't appreciate your blackness to a world where you better know the details of your blackness and how you got here. It is a fundamental transformative shift in the thinking and the psyche of young black people who grow up in a system that has been designed to kill us from the beginning. I know you weren't trying to come for us, Legalia, but just the sentiment itself. Harvard don't got nothing on fam in that regard. These the top 5 universities where people, I went to Stanford, I went to Yale, I went to Princeton, I went to Harvard. Yeah. Cool. Yes. But you don't have, and they could never be to their alumni what a black university is to a black alumni. It's just not possible. Sure, they're going to make a whole lot more money because they went to, but in terms of the soul of black folk and living in America, there's nothing like an HBCU. And that's why these white devils are going after it.
Absolutely. Because FSU, when I was there, tried to buy Florida A&M University. We said, hell no, to the point where they had to then start sending students over to programs that they did not have and they wouldn't put on their campus. Our SJGC, which is our journalism, our graphics and journalism school, our graphics communications, because all FSU has is communications, but our graphics, communications, and journalism school was on campus and full of white kids from FSU. I co-opt. I had dance at FAM, but I co-opt over at FSU. And the difference between my dance at FAM, with the same teacher, by the way, and my dance at FSU was loud. The education is more, because that's what the excellence with caring. Excellence with caring. That is our motto over at Florida A&M University, because that's true. We got issues with the leadership. Yeah, we'll fight them. But our legacy is excellent, and they cared for us on that campus. And here we have somebody who doesn't even know anything about us, our history. She can't even pronounce FAMU.
Wait a minute. What you mean she can't?
She keeps saying FAMU. She separates. When we say FAMU, it's FAMU. She's FAMU. Like I can't even say it. It's not even an accent thing. It's somebody who knows nothing about the university. It's somebody who knows nothing about the culture of our Black our HBCUs. It's somebody who would never understand. When you talk to somebody who doesn't know FAMU, if they read it on a piece of paper, they're gonna try to say every letter. FAMU. They don't know. But you're telling them FAMU. Look at this lady. Let's hear her talk.
I don't know if it's her talking. Yeah, it's not her talking. Sorry.
Oh man. Look at this. Look at this lady. Oh my God.
I think it's like, and and so people wouldn't understand, man. People wouldn't understand. Like the closest thing that you could get to understanding is if you go and binge watch Different World, and it actually changes your it changes your perspective, right? You could watch it and just be like, oh, that's Black folks. No, you go and watch it, and then you see the role that Hillman plays for the students in that show. It plays for the people who watch it. And then you realize, that there's an entire world of understanding. There's an entire way of seeing the world that you were never introduced to, especially if you're white. But even if you're Black, there's an entire world of understanding and perspectives of how this world functions and how it functions as a result of white supremacy. And then you take that to all of your courses and you start understanding. This is why they hate critical race theory so much. Critical race theory is so profound that white supremacists have had to declare war on it. What we're dealing with MAGA. And this is why my fundamental thing in this season right now, Rebecca, is if people who claim to be on our side, Democrats, liberals, Bernie Sanders, progressives, you know what I mean? The Hillary Clintons and all of them, all the Midas Touch and all these people and entities who claim to be allies with Black folks. If they don't understand that the fundamental root of MAGAism and the rise of Donald Trump and this fascist takeover of the United States of America is rooted in white supremacy. It comes from white supremacy. It's birthed from white supremacy. If our so-called allies don't understand that, don't accept that, and don't start fighting based on that, then they're not up to the task of fighting back and destroying MAGA, and they're certainly not truly our allies at this point. Because it's clear. It's clear as day now.
Yeah. And the fact that it's clear as day now, and they are expecting us not to bat an eye, I don't want us to be quiet because it's clear as day, we still should be actively saying this is not normal. I don't care how crystal clear it is. I don't care if it's Stevie Wonder that took off his glasses and he said he could see this whole time. We need to be clear that this is not normal and we won't accept it. Sorry, we won't accept it. I refuse to sit here and act like this is not something that's going to affect the future of our hard work when they told us they didn't want us.
Right.
I'm a result of what those people were doing and building up when they had the audacity. When they chose the highest of 7 hills over there in Tallahassee, Florida. Bennett's on the highest of 7 hills. Across the train tracks. When you flip that corner, we got our own MLK out there. We got our own there's so much legacy on that campus. And I just see it being whitewashed.
Erased.
This is erasure. This is the first implanting of somebody there to neutralize anything that has to do with Blackness. And how does that make sense at an HBCU? You're an appointee that has no qualifications, but you're appointed by a man who is anti Black.
who has declared war on blackness, literally said that he has this is a war on woke. And the only way they can use and define woke is blackness. It is a war on blackness. And then you have somebody, a black person. See, they're counting on a few things. And Rebecca, I know, they're counting on people forgetting. They're counting on people being angry now, but not angry later. They're counting on people forgetting. They're counting on her still showing up to the classic. She's going to get out there and she's going to try to say strike, strike again. I hope they boo her. I hope they boo her, but they're counting.
They will. They won't show up to the games. The protest is going to be so serious. And if we show up, then I will fly. Can't fly, can't afford that right now. I will drive down to Tallahassee. October 3rd. October. Whatever they tell us to do, I'm coming down there. All black, whatever is necessary. Next thing you know, we're going to see tanks. Ben, I can see it right now. Something has got to give. Something has got to give.
But
I don't even know. I've never been in this place where I feel so much anger like this about something that I talk about so much that has changed my entire life. And they're trying to take it from me. I'm a Haitian woman. They're attacking my family, my friends, my heritage. We got a bullseye on our back when we walk around. Haitian Flag Day is tomorrow, and I'm telling you, a lot of Haitians will not be out because of the fear of ICE coming to pick them up. I'm an HBCU graduate, and they hit my school first.
Yeah.
I'm like, what else do I got, Ben?
The fight itself. The fight itself, the gift that you bring, Rebecca, the gift of remembrance. You have been on that, and I'm going to keep saying that. I'm going to keep reminding you, and I'm reminding my wife. I'm telling my wife she needs to get up with you. You need to get up with her. Y'all need to get up with the other alumni, and y'all need to do something unique that other people aren't doing. A lot of people are going to protest. A lot of people are going to boycott, and that's fine. But I think you all in specific have the ability to lead a very important part. There's going to be a lot of people doing their parts, but I think that you have the ability to carry the narrative and make sure people don't forget because you remember, and then just bring people's attention back to it every single chance you get. And then make sure that the students on campus, they have to be, it's like they're coming in brand new students. They don't really know what's going on.
No, they don't.
They don't. And let me give you, like, this is what Pastor Robinson says. It's good, brother. He was my pastor while I was at Bethune-Cookman down the road. And he's coming on. Matter of fact, he's going to be coming on and joining us in our orbit. He's doing a podcast, and he's going to start doing my pastor. Love him. Military man, was running the ROTC over at Bethune-Cookman. And this is what he said. He said that he was heading up programs that were so important for the youth in not only the community, but at the university, but also in the community. And then they got rid of his program. So he wasn't mad. He was retired from the military, didn't need the money, but he was like, who's going to do this program for the kids? And then he says something that I'll never forget. He said, Ben, I watched and I thought that the kids would complain, but by the time all the kids that were there with me graduated, all of the new kids came in and none of them even knew that those programs ever existed. You can't miss what you never knew existed. And that's what Marva is trying to count on at FAMU. She knows that in about 2 years, there will be an entirely new class of students at FAMU who never knew that level of blackness existed.
Wow.
And that's the way they erase history. But that's where you and my wife and friends and all of y'all alumni all over the country, y'all everywhere. Y'all FAMU rattlers is everywhere.
I need people to understand that. I think that's like the misconception that, you know, he thought this was going to be a quiet outrage. The way that this is going to be the story. And I would love to see other HBCUs mobilized too. If we pulling up, everybody pulling up.
We pulling up.
I want to see it. I want to know that we're all in this together, because as I said about in my first video about ICE coming to get people, they come to get all y'all. It ain't they didn't. They started with black. And the ones that they hate the most, the Haitians, they made it in the face. However, they started to go in between and was like, you look.
You brown
like
enough for me to get rid of you.
You got a little 1% in you. 1%. You looking a little tan around the eyes. Get them. Get them. That's what they're doing. And they're doing that everywhere. There's now no kind of, no one is safe. You're poor. Just go ahead and let them put the change around your feet. You sick. Dig your grave. You black. We ain't got nothing for you. You black.
Oh no, they got something for us for black folks. They got a race war. I'm gonna stop calling it a race war. They don't want a race war. They want another Tulsa race massacre, and they're talking about it.
Ben, that's what I'm scared of. I feel like this will lead to something like that. I feel like these children, these students, they're going to, these kids are not to be played with. I heard a couple of kids put out their testimonies online, and one student was saying, I didn't want to say anything because I was not clear about what happened. This happened overnight. We woke up and this person was a candidate. We were not sure. And then we found out who she was. And then we said, how dare the school do this? How dare the school throw in somebody who has political ties? And he tried to say it's not about her political ties, but he still ended up saying it's about her political ties.
Yeah.
Because the person that she's politically tied to is anti-black.
Yes. Say it loud and clear. And never stop saying that.
The children don't know. And they are so upset because yesterday they were not protected. Their voices were dismissed in front of the nation, in front of the world. Marva was inside of a room as majority of people outside were saying, get out of here. We don't want you. To think that within less than an hour, they would say that she won. Every corner that I turned on the internet, not one person said they knew her. They knew about her. They said, get her out of here. Respectfully. And here, fam, you did this. I'm so embarrassed. I'm ashamed. We know we got ops, Ben. You know that. You know that at every university, it's always people who are working with, the ops and bringing that into the school. But now to bring it to the main stage and literally show us. They said, hey, come on in to the Board of Trustee meetings. They put us in part of the process and then they laughed at us.
Yeah. Yep. And here, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to keep it 100. Here's from Alicia. Hey, Rebecca and Ben, do you all have any advice on how to get involved and fight back against MAGA?
It brings me to tears too.
Schools brings me to tears with anger and sadness. Yes, I have. There are many ideas and many things that are happening, but the number one thing that we can do is connect with each other and to be able to stay connected to each other, because the next move is going to be to sever what ties we have left. It's no coincidence that our channel has gone from having, I don't know how many thousand people viewing us on a regular basis down to what we have now. And we love and appreciate every one of you. I'm just giving that as an example to show you what they have done. They have come in and they infiltrated YouTube. They infiltrated Twitter. They bought Twitter. And then they took all of Black Twitter tools and then they perverted it for MAGA and for white supremacy. Their number one tool is disconnecting us, having all of us separate in silos. And then their second biggest tool is to make us fear and to make us be afraid.
Yeah.
We cannot allow them to make us be afraid of any of it, whether it is what they did at FAMU or whether it is their desire to have a race massacre. We simply will not be afraid. And the number three is be prepared for every single thing that they are trying to do. Black people, I've said it, I'm going to say it again. You need to arm yourselves.
Yeah.
And I will start preaching that gospel, the gospel of self-defense,
because we do not have to sit around and wait for them to hype themselves up into a race massacre. And then we're just sitting back and, Jesus take the wheel. Okay, I know Jesus will take the wheel, but Jesus also can help me shoot my gun really straight. And so Black folks need to be absolutely prepared, because we're not going to let them do to us again what they did in Tulsa, what they did in Rosewood, what they did in Camilla, Georgia, what they did of Red Summer, what they have historically done. There are more race massacres in this country's history than you even have any idea about. So
I know.
I'm talking to the audience. I know talk to the audience. Black folks, if we don't arm ourselves and prepare ourselves and steel our backbone and get a backbone of steel, I'll say it twice, I'll say it again. If we don't arm ourselves and be prepared for these white Christian devils, then we would have knowingly let history repeat itself. And I ain't about to let history repeat itself without, listen, I want to live at peace amongst everybody, but we have no responsibility to be lambs to the slaughter.
No. I hope that we look at this and we're infuriated enough, because there's so many other things that we should be infuriated by, but because it's not our group of people, sometimes we just got to mind our business. It's just whatever. But this is too close to home for us. Our education, I know that people are promoting not going to school and all these other things, but our education is one of the biggest things for Black people in America. We fought for it, just like we fought for our right to vote. That's why no matter what people say, people vote. Our education, you may not want to go to a school, but you're still going to a technical school. You're still doing this, you're still doing that. We have fought for that right. When they told us that we have nowhere to go, they want us to be uneducated. We built our own.
That's right.
And they are infiltrating it and trying to take it from us and try to fill it with their history.
That's right.
Absolutely
That's right.
not.
Not today,
Absolutely not. We cannot allow that to happen. So we have to mobilize, like you said, Ben. We got to get together and figure something out. I'm a
broadcast from FAMU campus a couple times this year. A couple times we going to FAMU campus and we're going to
let me know, Ben.
And you come on down, James, come on down. I'm gonna invite some Wildcats up from Bethune-Cookman, and we're gonna come in there with solidarity and we're gonna broadcast. But I'm telling you, the number one thing that's gonna mess this woman up, that's gonna mess this Black MAGA woman up, is the fact that we got long-term memory over here.
Yeah,
we got long-term memory. Heck, I remember FAMU back before I decided to go to Bethune-Cookman College. And so we are going to take this long-term history that there are hundreds of thousands, if not into the millions of alumni and others who respect FAMU, who know what's going on. And we're going to teach our kids. We're going to teach those freshmen every year, until MAGA Marva is gone.
Absolutely.
Every year, we're going to teach those freshmen exactly what was done, how they did it, why they did it, and why the administration that they're under right now is actually MAGA, is actually Hydra, is actually the infiltration, the ops, COINTELPRO.
Yeah.
Every freshman class needs to come in understanding they're going in underneath COINTELPRO.
Whew. Protect FAMU. At all costs, protect all HBCUs, protect Black education. And that's what I am going to continue to promote. And especially me being, a rattler, orange and green. I bleed it through and through. You cut both of these veins open. I know that the blood of Jesus is within me, but it's kind of over here. It's kind of green. I'm telling you, I'm a rattler. I'm a rattler through and through. If anything, I'm going to be that. I'm going to be that. And I refuse for this to be a stain that lasts on the university. So,
Rebecca, I love you, and obviously I love you enough to not have yelled "Hell Wildcats" not one time during this whole episode. It's been on the tip of my tongue, in the back of my head, but no, honestly, I expect every HBCU, every Black fraternity, every sorority, whether you are at FAMU or whether you're in Florida at all. I don't care if you're the international chapters. I expect every single Black entity that has any connection or experience or even love for HBCUs to stand up in this moment. We don't have to go down there and protest. Matter of fact, that's what they want. They want to bring out the tanks on us, right? They would gladly, somebody said in the chat that they would do to black people what Netanyahu is doing to Gaza. And I'm talking globally here in the United States of America. But at FAMU, they certainly would do a Kent State where they shot and killed students right on that. They would love to do that. So I don't think that everyone needs to show up physically in person and protest, because that takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of money, and then you'll be tired afterwards. Nope. I think you all need to every day, like a ritual, remind yourself and remind somebody else of what FAMU is, what FAMU was, and what FAMU will be after you all get rid of Larva, MAGA, Marva Johnson.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's where a good place to end. I got to get out of here. I got to go pay a bill before.
Yeah, let me leave you with this. Let me leave. I'm gonna do you one good here, Rebecca. This is, and I know this president wasn't there when you were there. I know you're too young. You're too young to know. You're too young to know, but I know you know this chant. And so I'm putting this up for all of the Rattlers and all the alumni, especially my wife, my bae, who's tuned in, and I know she's just as hurt and just as upset. But y'all gonna survive this, because Rattlers don't, let me not even try. Let me let Dr. Frederick Humphreys say it. Here we go.
The dark clouds gather on the horizon. Thunder and lightning pierce the sky.
Woo! This is when we start.
In the eye of a fallen rattler, and hope along spread with the sinew of the chest.
I'm getting chills right now because.
And the muscles in the legs grow tired from those hard charging linebackers. You must always remember, the Rattlers will
strike and strike again.
Get out of here.
Yeah, we're gonna get out of here. Thank you, Ben. Send that video to me, please. And with that being said, y'all, listen, it's your girl's birthday weekend. They attacking me as a Rattler. They attacking me as a Haitian. Please make sure that we're able to continue to stick here with y'all, give you guys this information, give you guys it from the perspective of experience, the perspective of expertise. Please do, and qualifications, which is what Marva is lacking. Please make sure you guys continue to support the channel, and please support me. Support me, your girl. This is all I got. This is it. Right now, this is it. And please go ahead, Ben.
Before you leave, because I know you got to go. But before you leave, matter of fact, no, I'm gonna call you. I was gonna do it on air, but I need to call you because there's some work to be done. Because this is it's not so much that this is it, but Rebecca, this is it. What you do and how you do it, and how you read that Black History moment, how you cover the news, your work on your channel, it's excellent. And it deserves to be supported, not just because you're so excellent at what you do, but it deserves to be supported because it is a necessary voice right now. You have a necessary voice right now. And so I don't care if we got 30 people watching right now, we're going to have 30,000 watching before we're done with this. So all of you who are watching right now, I need you to go to Rebecca's Cash App and support her work. Thank you all to all the people and the various people who gave super chats. We appreciate those, but she needs some Cash Apps going up to her. Rebecca, what's your Cash App?
My Cash App is Becca's Voice on Cash App. That's BECCASVOICE. Becca's Voice on Cash App. It helps me keep these lights on, get a new mic, do the things that I need to do, keep the system running that we're using. It's just, I got a brand new light that I'm able to use to make sure, because the other one is dead and gone. My legs if y'all would see what this camera is sitting on.
The way we keep it rigged up,
baby. It is not fofos, baby. Both flats.
But Rebecca, here's the other thing, though, and we need everybody who can give to give. But what we need more than anything else is we need you to spread the word. We need you to activate. What can you do to help? Number one, you can help get our voices out here, because ain't nobody going to handle these issues the way we handle it around here, especially with Like It or Not with Rebecca Zor. So I need you to share this. I need you to find the FAMU graduates that you know in your life, or you don't know them, find them on social media and share this episode in specific. And Rebecca, I think we need to plant a flag here
a flag here and demand. If you are a FAMU Rattler, you need to not get tired of this story. And we're going to bring this back to their remembrance. I think we bring it back every single time we broadcast. We might not do an hour and a half on it for sure. But every time we broadcast, we need to mention what has happened, not only at FAMU, but how it's happening everywhere else.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ben. And I appreciate it once again. Y'all, I love you guys. Make sure you run the numbers up under that FAMU video because it's being throttled. So make sure y'all run the numbers up, send the message out like Ben said. And I appreciate y'all. And, you know, enjoy your weekend. Love you, mean it. Eat some cake for me. Blow out a candle for me. Love you. Mean it, y'all.
We out of here.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
Work that we're doing here is not going to stop when it comes to these type of discussions. It's going to be for us and by us here on this platform when the media is telling us to look the other way. Your support is what helps us move forward. Join patreon.com/like it or not. Help us grow.
Like it or not, y'all. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for like it or not. With Rebecca Azure. Let's start this damn show. Yes, it's time for like it or not. With Rebecca Azure. Let's start this damn show like it or not. Rebecca Azure is in the house. You know she got a funny story to tell. Talking politics, culture, or real life ish. I live in life in the ATL. Benjamin.